Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name is Rose Davidson and I'm from rosedavidson.com, and today my guest is Will Laurenson, and Will is a customer conversion specialist, host of the Customers Who Convert podcast, reviver of e-commerce conversion rates, and almost undefeated champion of Mario Kart. Welcome, Will. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So this is take two of our little soiree. And I'm sorry to get you out of bed so early in the morning. Time conversion is not kind when you're doing this sort of discussions, from such a long way away. So
That's all right.
You're from the UK. Your business is called Monkey Blocks, and your topic is customer experience optimization. So based on what you've told me, you help companies make the most out of traffic and customers they already have. And once someone clicks on an advert or search link, you help them make sure that site visitors find what they are looking for and complete the action they came to do, whether that's create an account, make a purchase, edit account details, or speak to customer service. So that's really great. So tell me a little bit more about Monkey Blocks.
Yes, so I suppose a bit of background first. My experience is in startups mainly. I worked for a few in the early days of my career. I had one of my own as well, and while my roles were always marketing and quite broad marketing roles covering all acquisition channels, retention, and everything, I always found there were issues with the products we had. It was, and the responses from management and the product teams always tended to be, just optimize your advertising, get better people in, and they kind of tried to hold off, hold off on development and things when we were saying, look, this is the feedback we're getting. We can look at the usage stats. We see people aren't using this feature. They don't like that feature. They're not finding that feature. So we can do all the best marketing in the world, but if the product isn't right, we're always going to struggle. We're going to struggle to convert people. At one of the startups, it was a subscription product. So we said, we're going to struggle to get them to go from a trial to a paid subscriber, and then we're going to struggle to retain them as a paid subscriber. If they keep having these problems. So that's kind of something that stuck with me through a few roles. I was always that marketing person, but getting really close to the product team and saying, these are the things we need to be doing differently. This is how people actually want to use it. What I was finding was that, the product teams they built what they wanted to build. They built the product that they thought would be correct. And so I always kind of pushed my way in and said, no, we've got to look at the data, look at how people are using it, look at the use cases. So I worked for Europe Car at one point, for one of their kind of car club startups. And I was saying, look, we've got to look at the actual usage data of how they use the cars and how they book the cars. If no one is booking a car for 1 hour, let's not have that as a default option. Let's have the average booking as the default option, and things like that. Anyway, so my last role was head of conversion at a large gaming company in the UK, and then I left my job last year in November to basically go out on my own and work directly with just a handful of clients at a time to work on customer experience optimization. So part of that's conversion rate optimization. So when you drive traffic to websites, how do we make sure they take the correct action? And mainly when we talk about conversion rate optimization, we're normally talking the purchase, really. Yeah. So if you've got a fashion site and you're driving traffic to it with ads, how do we make sure that they select the size of the item they want, click add to basket, and then complete the checkout? And then I take it a little bit further. I look at the full customer experience, really, and say, well, it's great getting people to make that conversion, but we've got to keep them happy as well. We've got to make sure they can find the returns information they need. They can contact support, and support can give them the support they need.
Yeah.
If they need to log in and check their order, they can do that. If they want to log in and edit their marketing preferences, they can do that as well. Because all these little touch points create positive and negative emotions for people. And so you want to be creating as many positive emotions as you can. And a lot of brands will try and do that in some areas, next day delivery, and having live chat, for example, but they miss out on things like being able to check an order status within your account, or being able to easily unsubscribe from an email, things like that. So if someone could love your brand, but if you make it difficult for them to unsubscribe from emails because they don't think they need them, because they know what they want to buy from you, that's going to create a negative experience, which might result in them going to a competitor instead.
Yeah, I found that with some websites like emails, there is no unsubscribe thing. And in Australia, it's mandatory to have an unsubscribe link. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you come from, China somewhere, or you're still supposed to supply an unsubscribe link.
It's mandatory around the world now, pretty much. I can't remember if this was a GDPR thing, but it's pretty much supposed to be one click in some jurisdictions. And now you can get around that a little bit. You don't have to unsubscribe. Well, hang on. In my opinion, you don't have to unsubscribe to someone from all your marketing emails just because they click the link.
Yeah. You
can get them to opt out of certain. You can offer them options.
Yeah,
you can say, do you want to pause your emails? Do you want to opt out of new product announcements, but stay opted into promotions and giveaways and things?
Yeah.
But you need to make it as easy as possible. And if you start putting it behind logins, it's people just get fed up. People don't want to log in.
Yeah, I know, I do.
There are times when I do it as well. I'll have, I'll get newsletters every week from a company. I'll ignore them for months and months and months, possibly years. And eventually I'll go, oh, do you know what? I need to unsubscribe from this. And then I can't remember my login because I haven't logged in for 2 years. And if you make it difficult for me to, reset, I don't want to reset my password because I don't want to access my account. I just want to unsubscribe. So if you make it difficult, people hit the spam button. And then people don't go back to your business. There must be a reason they signed up in the first place.
Yeah, great.
So that's the majority of what I do is the on-site experience, making it as best as possible for people. And then kind of tied to that, I do a bit of email marketing, abandoned cart emails, making sure that brands are getting the most value out of transactional emails as well. So if you're sending an order confirmation, what can we add to that order confirmation email to make sure there is potentially an action that customer could take? What they want is a list of the products they've bought, which is great. Give that to them. Can we then add a button which says, by the way, you might like this product. Click here to add it to your order. Yeah. People don't have to click it, but there's no real reason not to have that. Well,
no, there's an option. There's an option there.
So, and for some brands, it can work really well and really naturally. If you sell, arts and craft supplies or something, and people have certain products in their order, but there are other products that are very, very closely linked. I don't know. It's not arts and crafts exactly, but the one that always comes to mind is a printer.
Yeah.
If someone orders a printer, and doesn't buy paper and ink, at every opportunity, try and get them to buy that paper and ink. Whether it's on the in the basket, say, do you want to add these to your order before you continue? On the order confirmation page, your order has gone through, but are you sure you don't need these products? And then in the email confirmation, just say, look, just letting you know you have until 5 p.m. to add these to your cart if you do need them. It doesn't have to be pushy. And if you do it in the right way, it just, if they're very linked products, it makes sense. If you just started chucking some different clothing options in there, it might not work so well. But I mean, there are loads of options, and a lot of the time it comes down to kind of usability, anxiety, and motivation. So usability tends to be things on the website like adding new payment options, or adding like buy now, pay later as an option, or adding a sticky call to action so that if they scroll up and down the page, that call to action's there. Anxiety covers things like trust. Do people trust your brand? So things like security badges on the website, making sure you've got your SSL certificate, and reviews, loads and loads of reviews. And then motivation comes down to things like it could be the copy and kind of digging into people's emotions and making them realize they do really, really want that product. Or it could be things like making people aware that there's only one of these products left. Or, you can be a bit sneakier with it and say, and have one of those pop-ups that says, or notifications which says, 7 other people are looking at this product and there's one left. Or, there's only one ticket left at this price, that sort of thing. So motivation might not be quite the right word, because it focuses on things like scarcity and urgency.
Yeah.
So I guess you are motivating them to make that purchase.
Yes. Yeah. Scarcity is the motivator, isn't it? It's YOLO.
Yeah, and it's things like that. You can drop these things throughout the experience.
Or FOMO, I should say, not YOLO.
Yeah. So for example, the printer example earlier, that would be kind of a bit of a usability thing, because if they have the printer but no ink and paper, they can't use it. And there'd be a bit of, I guess, anxiety and motivation, really. It kind of digs into all three things, saying, you need all three of these things to work together. So make sure you don't miss out. But those three things are the key things to look into. And three of the things I focus on through data analytics, heat maps, customer feedback, and of course, just running through a website myself at times and just picking out all the areas where I think there could be a potential change or an issue, and then going and researching whether I think that's actually an issue.
Yeah. So without, I guess, asking you to pick favourites, I mean, I don't know if you even have these companies in the UK, but Spotify and WooCommerce, which are shopping sites, I guess, websites. So what kind of commercial e-commerce sites do you use in the UK?
Yes, I think Shopify, WooCommerce, and Magento are probably the biggest. There's probably a couple of the smaller ones out there, but those are definitely the biggest. Shopify's definitely kind of exploded over the last year or two, I'd say. I know, it was obviously always there, getting bigger and bigger and bigger the last few years, but it just feels like the last year or so or two, they've made some massive changes, which are fantastic. The downside to it depends on the size of your business, really.
Yeah.
If there are businesses doing millions and millions through it, and they're happy with that. Some businesses like to build their own things.
Yeah.
So one of the benefits of Shopify is all the apps. You can basically just plug in an app to do whatever you want to do on the website, and very quickly you can add in a lot of these customer experience bits. But each of the apps costs you money, and you have to get them right. Still, you have to implement them right. You have to get the right messaging on them, which takes a bit of time and learning. But some businesses, if you want a bit more flexibility with those tools, you have to build them yourself. So there are pros and cons, but if you're a small business, maybe a handful of employees and a founder, even if you're doing a few million a month, you can happily sit on Spotify, because those apps they're not really costing you that much compared to what you're getting from them. Yeah, I'd probably go with Shopify. There's lots you can do with Magento, but you need developer support a bit more.
Yeah, I have a WooCommerce site. I find that for me, it's easy to use, and I use that with a Divi. That's my theme that I use. They link together basically. So yeah, I can make them work together. So yeah, that's only
Yeah,
me.
and sometimes you don't have to use the full platform. There are plenty of sites out there which pretty much just use the Shopify checkout, because the Shopify checkout's pretty decent. But again, there's a few issues if you want customization. I think on the not the free plan, not the pro plan or plus plan, I can't remember what it's called. You can't remove like the promo code field.
Right.
And so if you don't use promo codes, then that field is always there.
Yeah.
And it means people go look for them.
Yeah.
So, there's flexibility on things like that. I actually posted on LinkedIn last week, I think it was, about auto filling promo codes for people. So basically pretty much never having that field there to actually allow people to put a promo code in, and instead just saying, we give promo codes out through emails. And so if they click that email, you can link it to the account. So if that person goes to make a purchase, just activate the discount in the background. You'll have acquisition through ads, which again, you can pass it through a link, or affiliates, which you'd give them their own code. Again, that can be passed through links. And if you have an offer that's widely available, publicly available, just apply it. Obviously test these things out, but you can just apply it, and all those people who would say, oh, I know that offer's on, but I didn't see the promo code, or there's the box, like, how do I go and get it? And you don't want people to get distracted.
No.
But I'm a big advocate of holding off discounts as much as possible. Unless you built your brand on that. If you're like a pound saver or dollar saver sort of website, you're a discount site. But if you really want to build a brand, you shouldn't need to be giving discounts out too much.
No, except for Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about your podcast, Will.
Oh yeah, so I host the Customers Who Click podcast. It's a weekly podcast where I interview a different marketer each week on various topics. It's always their specialty topic. Sometimes it gets a bit niche. I think I've had one podcast which was about Facebook ads generally. But a lot of the rest have been a little bit more specific. So we've had AI for artificial intelligence for copywriting. We've had gamification. We've had how to use personalized video in your customer emails. What have we had recently? Copywriting. What else have we had? Oh, video advertising recently.
Okay.
And a really good one about how you can kind of create video in a way which is reusable, and basically gives you a toolkit of video creative that you could continue to use for years. And it's just evergreen content, really. It's not campaign focused. So you just get the best value for your money by focusing on your core messaging and being able to say, well, we want to use this intro, these two benefits, and this outro for a YouTube ad. But on this Facebook advertisement, we're going to use this bit, this bit, this bit. So that was a really great episode, and it was with a guy who had spent 23 years at Procter and Gamble. And then he he went off and did some investing in startups and things, and then he basically launched a brand purely through YouTube advertising.
Wow.
It was called I think it's the Aura brush. It's like I think it's a brush for your tongue.
Yeah. What?
And yeah, they did amazingly well. They're a case study because they're the first brand to just purely launch through Google advertising. And this was back in about 2009, 10, I
Wow.
think, when the advertising on YouTube was pretty new. So I mean, yeah, people are experts on there. It's really, really good. So you can find it at customerswhoclick.com or look up Customers Who Click on iTunes, Spotify, or whatever other platform you use.
Yeah. I just started I've got my podcast on 3 different channels. Plus now I've just put it on Podbean. So yeah, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Plus I've got my own website on there now. Okay, so you've really covered everything about getting conversion traffic and how to get the customer experience to be positive, because a lot of businesses don't look at all the ins and outs of making the customer experience so positive. They do forget some of the steps along the way, I think.
I think a lot of brands are guilty of just getting their website live, being happy with it. It works. There's no bugs or whatever. So now we just drive traffic. We're just going to get more and more traffic to it. The website makes sales, so the problem is driving traffic to it. And actually, there's so much more that can be done on the website, both for conversion and for retention as well. So it's really important to keep looking at your website.
Yeah. We talked about, emails, how there's no unsubscribe thing, or you've got to jump through hoops to unsubscribe through, just to get out of them. And I think, why bother, really? It's just, it's not a good customer experience. I mean, I might like the company, I just don't want the emails all the time. So, I would go probably come buy from them, but they've lost my business because the email thing was just too hard to get out of.
Yeah.
So, do you have any wise words in passing, Will, to businesses that may be in startup, or even if they're not in startup, and what they could do to do things a little bit better with their site conversion or customer conversion? Or
I'd say work out your brand values and really, really, really push them. Make sure they're obvious to people, and that will allow you to differentiate yourself. And that alone can have an impact on conversion rates and the experience. A great example that was is quite prominent at the moment is kind of sustainability, particularly around clothing. And you'll see some brands will basically stick a badge on their product pages and say, this product uses X amount less water than previously, or other jeans or whatever. But it's clear that they literally they're sticking a tag on it and saying it becomes a product feature, basically. Whereas other brands will say, you'll go to their website and it's so clear that brand really cares about sustainability and the environment. They probably have some sort of scheme to donate part of their profits. They will talk about how they source their partners specifically to avoid problems and to be better and more sustainable. And it's so obvious when that happens. You go to the majority of fashion sites. I think fashion's particularly bad for this. Most fashion retailers, their websites are so similar layouts, similar products, and there's no real feel for a brand there. They'll have a logo, they'll have their own design style and things, but they're all just so similar. So I think if you want to stand out, give yourself a bit of an advantage, make sure you've got those brand values right, and make sure you actually you put them on the site, make sure people are aware, make sure they're in your social media, your emails. And I'm not saying make it the primary message everywhere, but just make sure that messaging is evident, and people believe that it's something you care about and not just something you're sticking on a banner on the website.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's being authentic, really, isn't it? It's just, putting what you believe in, and being truthful to people without without bending the truth, I guess.
Yeah.
So where can they find you, Will?
Either monkeyblocks.com, so it's just monkey the animal and blocks BLOCKS.
Yep.
I like to think that's quite obvious, but I get a lot of people thinking it's BLOX for some reason. I don't know. That's just, they just assume I've gone with some sort of modern approach to it. Monkeyblocks.com. Email is will@monkeyblocks.com, or just find Will Laurenson on LinkedIn. I've got quite a bright blue background around my head on my profile picture, so
yeah, I know.
Hopefully I'm easy to find.
Pretty.
Yeah.
All right, Will, thank you so much. I'm sorry to make you get up so early in the morning.
That's absolutely fine. It's what, 9:30 now. So,
all right.
So
all right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. All right.
And thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Cheers.